Imagine this, and tell me if you've ever felt this way in a project or maybe a new role. You're in this dense jungle, part of a team,
All right.
and you're all tirelessly clearing a path, really focused, efficient, swinging those machetes. You think you're heading to this perfect spot on the coast. Progress feels excellent.
Right, you're making headway.
Exactly. But then suddenly, one person scrambles up a tree, looks around, gets the bigger picture and shouts down, "Wrong way!"
Ah, that sinking feeling, all that effort.
Precisely. That moment, that awful realization, you've been working incredibly hard, but just in the wrong direction. That's what this deep dive is really all about.
Avoiding that wrong way moment.
Yeah. We're here to help you avoid those moments, both in leadership and just in your own daily work. Our mission today, it's to take all your collective materials and really extract the most vital insights.
The core stuff.
The core stuff on effective leadership, mastering your own productivity in this, chaotic world, the art of engaging a truly diverse workforce.
Which is increasingly common.
Absolutely. And finally, sharpening your communication skills. Think of this as your shortcut, to being genuinely well-informed on these really critical workplace topics.
Getting right to the heart of it.
There's a core idea right from your source material that makes this powerful distinction. It says, management is doing things right.
Leadership is doing the right things. Yeah, that's a classic. Powerful.
It really is. And what we'll explore together is what doing the right things truly means for you and, your path forward. Okay, so let's unpack this crucial difference then.
Yeah.
What does effective leadership really look like in action, beyond just the day-to-day management grind?
Well, the sources outline several distinct leadership styles. Each one has its own flavor and impact.
Right. So first up,
we have the autocratic style.
Okay, autocratic.
Think of a leader who, makes all the decisions themselves. No consultation.
Right. Sounds efficient, maybe?
It can be.
Yeah.
But it fosters high dependency on them, and honestly, it can really demotivate staff over time.
I can see that.
But where it really finds, according to the material, is when you need quick, decisive action.
Like a crisis.
Exactly. A crisis situation where there's just no time for debate.
Okay. So if autocratic is about sole control, what happens when leaders share that power more?
That brings us to democratic leadership. This style actively encourages decision-making from different perspectives.
Different perspectives, okay? How does that work?
Well, it can play out in a couple ways. It might be consultative.
Meaning
The leader gathers input before deciding. Or it could be persuasive.
Persuasive.
Yeah.
So the leader decides first.
Yeah, the leader decides, but then works really hard to bring others on board to persuade them.
Gotcha. And the benefits. The sources must mention some upsides.
Oh, definitely. The material highlights some great benefits here. It genuinely boosts motivation, increases involvement.
People feel heard.
Exactly. Build a stronger sense of ownership, and definitely improves the sharing of ideas.
Sounds good. But there must be a downside.
The main drawback, it can absolutely slow down decision-making. Especially when speed is, paramount.
Right, back to the crisis scenario.
Yeah.
Democratic might not be ideal there?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Then, taking that sharing idea even further, what if you just sort of let it be?
Let it be.
That's where laissez-faire leadership comes in. Essentially, leadership responsibilities are shared by everyone.
Everyone. Wow.
Yeah. This can be fantastic for highly creative businesses. It gives a huge boost in motivation because people have so much control, so much autonomy.
Okay, I see the appeal for, design studios or something.
Right. But, and this is a big but, it relies heavily on really strong teamwork and excellent interpersonal relations.
Because otherwise...
Otherwise, coordination can become incredibly time-consuming and, the overall direction can just vanish.
Yeah.
Chaos.
Yeah, I can picture that. Okay, any others?
One more main one. The paternalistic style.
Paternalistic? Like a parent?
Sort of. The leader acts much like a father figure, maybe a wise elder. They make the final decisions, but they often consult.
Okay.
And they genuinely believe in nurturing and supporting their staff. It's a bit like the benevolent dictator, but maybe softer.
Interesting mix. So, across all these styles, what's the bottom line? What's the leader supposed to be doing?
At the end of the day, regardless of the style, the core role is pretty clear from the sources. It's to influence people.
Influence them how?
So they commit totally or as close as possible to achieving the team's business objectives. It's about shared commitment to the goal.
Influence and commitment. Okay.
And what's truly fascinating here, looking at these styles, is just how diverse they are.
Right. Very different approaches.
And how context-dependent their effectiveness becomes, that quick, decisive, autocratic style. It might save a sinking ship,
Yeah.
but it's probably not going to foster long-term innovation.
Right. You need different approaches for different goals.
Exactly. And conversely, that laissez-faire approach might unlock incredible creativity, but it could also lead to, well, chaos if the team isn't exceptionally self-directed and mature.
Makes sense. It's about fit.
It is. But this brings up a deeper question, I think. Beyond the style of leadership, what about the person? The characteristics of the individual leader?
Ah, okay. What did the sources say about traits?
Your material gave us a list, I think it was 20 traits, and a few really jumped out as, crucial for effective leadership.
Like what?
Well, things like discipline and self-confidence, certainly, those seem foundational.
Yeah.
But also a strong sense of vision, knowing where you're going. Optimism, courage.
Courage is interesting. Courage to do what?
Good question. Not just make bold decisions, I think, but also the courage to listen, maybe change course when new information challenges your vision. That takes courage, too.
Yeah. Adaptability.
Exactly. And what I found particularly insightful were things like human understanding, real empathy, adaptability and flexibility, as you said, and even a good sense of humor.
A sense of humor.
Yeah, think about it. It can diffuse tension, build rapport. It's actually quite powerful. The real takeaway, though, isn't just having these traits.
What is it then?
It's knowing which ones to amplify in a given situation.
Context again?
Always context. Courage, for example, means different things at different times.
Okay. So leaders have these styles, these traits. What else are they juggling?
Well, they face this constant balancing act. The sources talk about 3 key areas of activity.
3 areas.
Yep. First, there's task behavior. That's about the work itself, setting the vision, the targets, planning how to get there.
Makes sense. The what and how.
Right. Then there's team behavior, focusing on the group dynamic, cohesion, how people work together. Exactly. And finally, individual behavior. This addresses the unique needs, the development, the performance of each person on the team.
You within the U.S.
Nice chocolate. It's this dynamic juggle, really, to keep all 3, task, team, individual, in harmony.
That is a lot to balance.
Yeah.
But thinking about those traits again, does the source suggest they're all equally important all the time? Or are some more critical, say, in a crisis versus just steady growth?
That's a great point. The material definitely implies that adaptability is key. It's not explicitly ranked, but you can infer it.
How so?
Well, a crisis might demand more, visible courage and decisive task behavior. Get things done, stabilize the situation.
Right. Action-oriented.
Whereas a long-term growth phase might lean more heavily on that vision piece, on human understanding, nurturing individual potential, building for the future.
So it's not like a static checklist you tick off.
Not at all. It's more like a toolkit, right? You develop these characteristics, these capabilities, and you learn which tool to pull out depending on the job at hand. You refine it over time.
Wow, okay. That's a powerful shift in perspective. It's not just being a leader, but leading actively, adaptively.
Precisely.
Now, here's where things get really interesting, according to our sources. They point out that the most challenging aspect of business isn't just leading day to day.
What is it then?
It's specifically managing change, leading through change.
Ah, yes. Always tricky.
And you know what? The reason it's so hard, apparently, usually boils down to the people side. Human resource management issues. It's how people react to the upheaval.
The human element. It trips us up every time.
It does. And our sources walk us through this really insightful model. It's based on work by Adams and others and Garrett. It describes 7 stages. Well, 7 self-esteem states people typically go through when change hits.
7 states. Okay, what are they?
It starts with immobilization, that initial shock, disbelief. Sometimes people just freeze, inaction when rumors start flying or the official announcement drops.
Yeah, the deer in headlights moment.
Totally. Then stage 2 is minimization. People try to make the change fit their existing world, their comfort zone. They think, oh, this won't really affect me.
Denial, basically. Wishful thinking.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But after that, reality often sinks in, and that can lead to stage 3. Depression.
Depression. That sounds serious.
It can be. Staff might feel alienated, angry, maybe just a profound lack of control over what's happening. This is usually the lowest point emotionally.
The trough of disillusionment.
That's a good way to put it. Following that, though, we start to see a turn with stage 4. Acceptance letting go. People begin to reluctantly accept the inevitable. The fear of the future is still there, definitely, but they're starting to face it.
Okay, so a glimmer of moving up.
A glimmer. Then comes stage 5, testing out. Individuals cautiously start to interact with the new reality. They ask questions, try things out, see how they might fit into this new way of working.
Dipping their toes in the water.
Exactly. And self-esteem starts to climb during stage 6, the search for meaning. Here, they're actively trying to make the change work for them. How can I use this? What's the opportunity here?
Finding purpose in the new situation.
Right. And finally, stage 7 is internalization. The change is fully understood, adopted. Individuals feel a renewed sense of confidence. It's become the new normal. It's quite a journey.
Wow. That's a really detailed map of the emotional roller coaster. And if we connect this back to leadership, understanding this emotional journey is just absolutely critical. It's not just about managing the process of the timelines, the tasks. It's profoundly about the people experiencing it.
So leaders need to be aware of these stages.
Aware and responsive. The big takeaway here is recognizing that each stage demands a different kind of support, a different intervention from the leader.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, so when staff hit that depression stage, right, more pep talks probably won't help much.
Right. Might even make it worse.
Could do. What's needed then is maybe creating safe spaces for validation, letting people express their frustration, their anger, their fear without judgment, just acknowledging it.
Okay. And later, during testing out.
That's when you need to provide psychological safety. Let people ask the dumb questions, try small experiments, maybe fail without fear of reprisal. It's about encouragement and removing barriers, not just delivering top-down answers.
So tailoring the leadership response to the emotional state.
Precisely. Which also brings up that age-old question, doesn't it? Are leaders born with this understanding, this capability? Or can it be learned? Are leaders born or made?
The nature versus nurture debate for leaders. What do the sources say?
Well, they dive into several theories. You've got trait theories, for example. These focus on inherent characteristics, personality, charisma, self-confidence, vision.
The born leader idea.
Essentially, yeah. The question they really pose is whether this implies leaders are just born with these qualities, almost predetermined.
But that's not the only view.
No, definitely not. Then you have behavioral theories. These suggest a more hopeful outlook, actually.
Hopeful how?
They suggest leaders can be trained, that leadership is about behaviors, skills you can learn. These theories focus on how things are done.
How things are done. Like what?
Either through structure-based approaches, setting clear procedures, roles, deadlines, or relationship-based ones, where the focus is more on building team cohesion, trust, individual rapport, structure versus people, basically.
Okay, so traits or behaviors. What else?
Perhaps most practically, there are contingency theories.
Contingency, meaning it depends.
Exactly. These argue that leadership isn't fixed. It's flexible. It has to adapt to the specific circumstances.
Like what kind of circumstances?
Things like the type of staff you have, their skills, their motivation, the business's history and its culture, the very nature of the changes needed. It emphasizes there's no single best style. One size does not fit all.
That makes a lot of intuitive sense.
It does. And beyond those main categories, the sources also touch on a few others briefly. Transformational leadership.
Transformational. Sounds big.
It is. It's about driving widespread change, often fueled by a really clear, compelling vision. Leaders leading by example, inspiring people.
Okay.
There's also invitational leadership, which is maybe less common. It focuses specifically on improving the organizational atmosphere, building a strong sense of belonging, reducing negative messages.
Interesting. More about the climate.
Yeah. And finally, transactional theories. These are often contrasted with transformational. They concentrate more on the management side, using established rules, procedures, rewards, punishments, and dealing efficiently with current issues, keeping the ship running smoothly.
Wow, okay. So many different lenses to view leadership through. Trait, behavioral, contingency, transformational, invitational, transactional.
It's a rich field, and the key is probably drawing from all of them as needed.
Right. So, okay, if you're trying to be this adaptable, effective, maybe even transformational leader, navigating change, understanding people's emotions, how do you even manage your own stuff, your own day, let alone everyone else's?
The million-dollar question, right?
Totally. And your source material actually has some surprising insights on this. It challenges some of the common myths about time management.
Oh, like what?
Well, the big one is this. It's not really about increasing the quantity of time you have, because you can't, right? They're only 24 hours.
True. Can't make more time.
It's about increasing the quality of the time you invest. making the most of the hours you do have.
Quality over quantity. Makes sense.
And the material reminds us of a couple of laws you might recognize. Parkinson's law.
Ah, yes. Work expands to fill the time available.
Exactly. And Murphy's law, or at least a version of it, everything seems to take longer than you think it will.
Oh, I definitely feel that one all the time.
Me too. So it's pretty clear that not managing your tasks effectively, well, it hits your life balance, your productivity, everything.
For sure. Stress levels go up.
Right. But the good news is there are tools, proven tools the sources mention, scheduling, prioritizing, and good old to-do lists.
The basics, but they work if you use them right.
Exactly. And when it comes to practical scheduling, the source gives us this fantastic rule. They call it the 60% rule.
The 60% rule, what's that?
You only schedule 60% of your available time.
Only 60%. What about the rest?
You leave that crucial 40% open for the unexpected stuff that always comes up, for creative thinking time, for those inevitable interruptions. Builds in buffer.
Huh. That's counterintuitive, but actually makes a lot of sense. Less frantic reactivity.
Right. Beyond that, it's about other smart tactics. Grouping related tasks together, batching things, scheduling specific thinking time.
Actually blocking it out on the calendar.
Yep. Making transition time between meetings productive, maybe reviewing notes or prepping for the next thing. Finding a quiet hour, if you can, for deep work.
Good luck with that sometimes.
True. Also, considering your personal body time. Are you a morning person or an afternoon person? Schedule demanding tasks accordingly. And always prepare your schedule in advance, like the night before.
Proactive, not reactive scheduling.
Exactly.
Okay, so scheduling helps structure the time. But that raises another important question for productivity, doesn't it? How do you actually decide what gets done first, especially when everything feels urgent?
The prioritization puzzle.
Yeah. And the source mentions a classic here, the Eisenhower model. It's a classic for a reason. It's incredibly effective.
The Eisenhower matrix, right. Urgent, important.
That's the one. It's a simple matrix, just 4 boxes that helps you categorize every task. You've got tasks that are urgent, A and D important.
Those are the A tasks.
Yep, category A, do them now or as soon as possible. Then you have tasks that are not very urgent, but quite reasonably important.
The important planning, strategy stuff?
Often, yeah. These are the ones you plan to do. Schedule them, protect time for them. Category B, maybe?
Okay.
Then category C, perhaps. Tasks that are urgent, but not important.
Urgent, but not important. Like what?
Maybe some interruptions, certain emails, requests from others that seem urgent to them but don't align with your key goals. These are ideal for delegation, if possible.
Delegate the noise.
If you can. And finally, category D tasks that are not urgent, A&D, not important.
The time wasters.
Pretty much.
Right.
These are the ones to eliminate or at least defer indefinitely, the real pitfall, the trap many people fall into.
What's that?
Spending way too much time in that urgent but not important box. Feeling busy, putting out fires, but not actually making progress on the truly important things. Mistaking activity for achievement. This model helps you resist that pull.
That's a really practical tool. Urgent, important. Got it.
And to tackle those really big, daunting tasks, the ones that feel overwhelming, your source introduces this really engaging metaphor. The Swiss cheese principle.
Swiss cheese. Okay, I'm intrigued.
Think about it. How does a mouse eat a huge block of cheese?
Small bites.
Exactly, little nibbles. The principle applies this to your work. It encourages you to break down those massive, overwhelming tasks into smaller, manageable wholes.
Holes in the cheese.
Yeah. Tiny bites you can easily start, maybe just a 5-minute action or drafting 1 paragraph. You take these small bites, punch holes in the task, build momentum, and gradually you eat away at the whole thing. Makes it much less intimidating.
I like that. Less procrastination, maybe.
That's the idea. And for supervisors, team leaders specifically, the source also highlights standard work.
Standard work.
Yeah, defining the best, most efficient, agreed-upon way to do a recurring task. It's a strategy to consistently meet important requirements, ensuring quality and efficiency, especially for routine operations.
Okay, so scheduling, prioritizing with Eisenhower, tackling big tasks with Swiss cheese, and defining standard work. That's a solid toolkit for managing your own work.
It definitely helps get things under control.
Okay, so let's say you've done that. You've got your own work reasonably dialed in. You understand leadership styles, how people react to change. But then you look around your team.
Uh-oh, what do you see?
You realize it's made up of people from wildly different generations. Traditionalists, boomers, Gen X, Gen Y. How on earth do you lead them effectively, altogether?
Ah, the multi-generational workforce. It's a reality in most places now.
Totally. And our source material emphasizes something important here. This isn't a problem to be solved.
Oh, what is it then?
It's actually a source of immense positive challenge, opportunity, and potential for significant growth if you manage and leverage it effectively.
Okay, so it's an asset, potentially.
Potentially, yeah. The key is understanding that each generation brings its own unique values, attributes, work styles, shaped by their formative experiences.
Right, different perspectives.
Exactly. The source gives some memorable phrases for each. First, the traditional generation born before, say, 1945. Their mindset is often summarized as, these are the rules.
Okay, structure, order.
Yeah, they typically value conformity, loyalty, respect for authority, hierarchical structures, and they generally dislike conflict. Follow the rules.
Got it. Next.
Then, evolving from that, we have the baby boomers, born roughly 1946 to 1964. Their phrase might be, let's talk about the rules.
Ah, challenging the status quo a bit.
A bit. They tend to focus more on individual choice, community involvement. They often prefer collaborative decision-making, team players. But they still tend to avoid direct conflict, maybe more focused on achieving consensus.
Okay, boomers. Who's after them?
A real shift often comes with Generation X, born roughly 65 to 80. Their mindset, often seen as break all the rules,
The rebels.
sometimes perceived that way. They highly value autonomy, independence.
Yeah.
Work-life balance became a huge thing for them. They want flexible arrangements. They're generally comfortable with authority figures, but
What?
they aren't necessarily impressed by titles or the traditional corporate ladder just for its own sake. You have to earn their respect.
Okay, makes sense. Skeptical, independent. And the youngest group in this breakdown?
Generation Y, or millennials, born roughly 81 to the late 90s. Their motto could be, redefine the rules.
Redefine them. How?
They crave change, challenge constant learning. They're natural multitaskers, grew up with tech. They actively seek learning opportunities and expect things like corporate social responsibility from their employers.
Values driven.
Very much so. And they definitely desire instant feedback, instant gratification sometimes. They often view work not just as a job, but as an expression of who they are.
Wow. Those are some pretty distinct profiles. These are the rules. Let's talk about the rules, break the rules, redefine the rules. It paints a clear picture, doesn't it? And what's truly fascinating here, and important for leaders, is how each generation also tends to come with its own unique set of challenges, maybe pressure points or needs, things leaders really need to be aware of to provide effective support, maybe through things like employee assistance programs or EAPs.
Ah, okay. Like what kind of specific challenges?
Well, the source gives examples. For traditional generation workers, as they age, issues might lean towards needing support with long-term care planning, or maybe dealing with depression related to retirement or life changes.
Okay. And boomers.
For baby boomers, it could often be that struggle with work-family balance, maybe caring for both kids and aging parents. Or sometimes, unfortunately, issues around substance abuse can emerge under pressure.
Right. Gen X.
Generation X often grapples with balancing their career ambitions against family demands, that work-life balance thing again, or sometimes navigating complex legal issues like divorce or custody.
Okay. And Gen Y millennials.
For Gen Y, common challenges might include things like managing student loan debt or other financial pressures, or sometimes dealing with the social pressures that can, in some cases, lead to things like binge drinking. It's obviously not everyone, but these are patterns the sources note.
So understanding these potential generational pressure points helps leaders offer more targeted support.
Exactly. It helps you anticipate needs and maybe tailor resources or just conversations more effectively. The overarching goals here, when you're engaging a multi-generational workforce, are pretty clear according to the material.
What are the main goals?
It's about optimizing recruitment, attracting talent from all age groups, improving retention, keeping them engaged, and boosting overall employee and manager satisfaction, making it a place where everyone can thrive.
And how do you achieve that? What does it take?
The sources emphasize it really requires strong, visible support from senior leadership. It can't just be an HR initiative.
Needs buy-in from the top.
Absolutely, and broad cross-organizational participation. Everyone needs to be involved in making it work, ensuring it's not just some siloed effort, but part of the company culture.
Makes sense. It has to be genuine.
Totally.
Okay. So ultimately, whether you're trying to define your leadership style, manage your own tasks efficiently, or engage all these distinct generations, it feels like it all comes down to one fundamental thing.
What's that?
Communication.
Right. Absolutely. It underpins everything. But what is truly effective communication? It's more than just talking, isn't it?
It is. Our source material moves beyond just the simple exchange of thoughts or messages. It defines communication as achieving shared feelings
Shared feelings and
and shared understanding.
Yeah.
If you can honestly reach that goal, that shared feeling and understanding, then you are communicating effectively.
shared understanding. I like that definition. It sets a higher bar than just transmitting information.
It does. And there are various methods, of course, each with pros and cons.
Mhm.
The sources break them down. You've got one-way communication, like sending a memo, a fax. If anyone still uses those, an email, a voicemail, a letter, it's direct, gets the info out, but offers no immediate feedback loop.
Okay. Fire and forget.
Kinda. Then there's two-way communication.
Like this conversation.
Exactly. A phone call, an in-person chat. It allows for immediate interaction, clarification, back and forth.
Much richer.
Definitely. And finally, the source mentions collaborative communication.
Collaborative. How's that different from two-way?
It's more about actively working together to create something or solve something.
Mm-hmm.
Think dynamic team meetings, genuine consulting where input shapes the outcome, group problem-solving sessions aimed at reaching a real consensus. It's co-creation.
Got it.
Right.
More intensive, deeper engagement.
Yeah. And here's a really crucial point the material highlights about all this communication. Who is primarily responsible for making sure it actually works? That the message lands.
The sender, the receiver, both.
The source puts the onus squarely on.
Yeah.
The communicator, the sender.
Really? How much responsibility?
Get this. The source says the communicator is 60% responsible for making sure the message is not just sent, but received and understood correctly.
60%. Wow. That's a significant burden. It's not enough just to say it. You have to ensure it's grasped.
Exactly. The responsibility is largely on your shoulders as the communicator.
Okay. That's a big takeaway. So if we connect this to the bigger picture, how can we be better communicators, especially face-to-face? Any practical tools?
Yes. The source provides a really practical tool, especially for those in-person interactions. It's called mirror and match.
Mirror and match. Sounds intriguing. Like mimicking someone.
Not exactly mimicking in a robotic or mocking way. It's much more subtle. It's about subtly aligning yourself with the other person to build rapport and enhance that shared understanding we talked about.
Aligning how? What do you mirror or match?
Several things. You can gently mirror or match elements like their sentence structure, short sentences or longer ones. Their tone of voice, energetic or calm. The key words they use, picking up on their important terms.
Okay.
Even their nonverbal body language posture, gestures, but subtly. Their general style of speech, formal or informal. And even the rhythm or pace of their speech.
Wow. That's quite a list. It sounds like deep listening applied physically.
That's a great way to put it. It helps create this subconscious sense of connection, of being on the same wavelength, makes the other person feel heard and understood, which opens the door for better communication.
Okay, mirror and match. That's a concrete technique. What about broader principles?
The sources list several key communication principles. Things like, be aware of your own communication style and how it might be perceived. Adapt your message appropriately for your audience.
Right. Know who you're talking to.
Effectively use and interpret verbal messages, choosing words carefully. Listen actively and respond thoughtfully, not just waiting for your turn to talk.
Active listening. Crucial.
And effectively use and interpret nonverbal messages, body language, eye contact, facial expressions. It's a whole person process, verbal and nonverbal working together.
It really is. You communicate so much without saying a word.
So true. Now, it's also vital when we talk communication to understand the subtle but important difference the sources make between a group and a team. They aren't always the same thing.
Okay. How do they differ?
Well, a small group is typically defined as, say, 3 to 15 people who share a common purpose, interact, and have some sense of belonging together, like a committee, maybe.
Okay, a collection of people with a shared interest.
Right. A team, however, is described as a more coordinated group, organized specifically to work together to achieve a specific common goal. It's more focused, more interdependent.
So all teams are groups, but not all groups are teams.
Exactly. Teams, unlike just general groups, tend to have clearly defined responsibilities for each member. They often have explicit rules for how they operate. They have clear, measurable goals. And they have established ways of coordinating their efforts. Think of a sports team or a surgical team, highly coordinated.
Right. Purpose-built, specific objective, high interdependence. Much tighter structure.
Precisely. They're like a focused, purposeful engine.
And what makes someone a good member of one of these engines, a good team player?
Our source lists several key characteristics, probably things you'd recognize from your own experiences working in teams. Things like relevant experience, strong problem-solving ability.
Makes sense. Skills.
Yeah, but also openness, being open to new ideas, different perspectives, supportiveness, helping out your teammates, being action-oriented, willing to jump in and do the work,
Proactive.
and possessing a generally positive personal style. Being reasonably optimistic, cooperative, easy to work with. It's that blend of skill and attitude.
Skill and will, perhaps.
I like that, skill and will.
Now, when we talk about how these groups and teams actually function, the dynamics, we need to consider several key elements the sources bring up.
Okay, like what?
Well, first, there are the different roles people naturally fall into or are assigned. There are task roles, getting the job done, social roles, maintaining harmony, and sometimes, unfortunately, individual roles that can actually hinder the group's progress.
The helper, the information seeker, but also maybe the blocker or the dominator.
Exactly, those kinds of roles. Teams also operate with both explicit rules, things written down or formally agreed upon, and often unspoken norms, which are the unwritten rules about what's considered appropriate behavior. How we dress, how we disagree, whether we start meetings on time.
Norms can be powerful.
Hugely powerful.
Yeah.
Then there's status within the group, perceived importance or prestige, and various forms of power. This is really interesting.
Power dynamics, always present. What types of power?
The sources mention several classic types. Legitimate power from your formal position or title. Referent power from being liked, respected, admired. Charisma plays a role here. Expert power from knowledge or skills.
Okay.
Reward power, the ability to give incentives or satisfy needs. And coercive power, the ability to punish or use sanctions.
Coercive? The stick versus reward, the carrot.
Kind of. And understanding these power types isn't just, academic theory. It's fundamentally about how you influence people within that team or group.
How so?
Well, think about it. A leader relying solely on coercive power might get compliance. Sure, people will do what they're told to avoid punishment. But
no real buy-in.
Exactly. Whereas a leader who builds referent power through trust, respect, genuinely connecting with people is much more likely to inspire true commitment, loyalty, discretionary effort. People want to follow them.
That makes a huge difference in engagement.
Massive. And finally, another key dynamic is cohesiveness.
Cohesiveness, like how tightly knit the group is.
Exactly. The degree of attraction members feel toward one another and the group itself. Highly cohesive groups, for instance, naturally tend to emphasize we over I. They often reinforce good attendance and participation organically, and they achieve more when they set clear goals together. There's a strong bond.
That we feeling is crucial.
It really is. Communication also flows through different networks or patterns within an organization or team. Imagine the visual shapes.
Okay, communication patterns.
Yeah. You might have an all-channel network. Everyone talks directly to everyone else. Great for brainstorming, collaboration. High morale sometimes.
But maybe inefficient for simple information sharing.
Could be. Then there's the chain network. Messages get passed along from one person to the next, down a line. Think of a traditional hierarchy. Efficient for clear, structured information flow, but can be slow, and messages can get distorted.
Like the telephone game.
Exactly like the telephone game. And finally, the wheel network. You have one central person who receives most messages and then disseminates them outwards to others, like a hub and spokes.
Common with a central leader or coordinator.
Very common. Efficient for simple tasks, gives the central person a lot of control, but can bottleneck and leave others feeling out of the loop.
Different networks for different needs, again.
Always depends on the goal. Groups also typically go through predictable phases of development, according to the sources.
Stages of group life.
Sort of. First is orientation, getting acquainted, figuring things out. There's often what's called primary tension, that initial awkwardness and uncertainty.
Yeah, everyone's polite but hesitant.
Right. Then comes conflict. As people get comfortable, disagreements emerge, ideas clash. This is secondary tension. It's actually a necessary phase for good ideas to surface, if managed well.
The storming phase.
Often called that. Then hopefully comes emergence. Conflict starts to reduce, solutions begin to surface, norms solidify, people find ways to work together.
Finding common ground.
Yep. And finally, reinforcement. There's a strong sense of we shared accomplishment. The team operates smoothly and reinforces its identity and success. The performing stage.
Orientation, conflict, emergence, reinforcement. A natural cycle.
Typically, yes.
Okay, one last crucial area, especially today. When you're leading these diverse groups and teams, you absolutely have to consider how cultural differences impact communication.
Oh, absolutely critical. The sources highlight a few fascinating dimensions here. Well, there's the well-known individualism versus collectivism dimension. Does the culture prioritize individual achievement and autonomy, or group harmony and collective goals? This deeply impacts teamwork preferences, how credit is given, how decisions are made.
Okay, individual focus versus group focus.
Right. Then there's high contact versus low contact cultures. This relates to the use of personal space, physical touch, direct eye contact, and communication. Big potential for misunderstanding if you're not aware.
Yeah, personal space bubbles differ wildly.
They really do.
But the sources mentioned one distinction that sounded particularly intriguing. Something about time.
Ah, yes. This is a really practical one with huge implications. It's the difference between monochronic and polychronic approaches to time.
Monochronic and polychronic. Okay, break those down.
So if you operate from a monochronic perspective, which is common in cultures like Germany, Switzerland, the US, the UK, you tend to do one thing at a time.
Linear. Focused.
Very linear. You concentrate deeply on the job at hand. You take time commitments, deadlines, appointments very seriously. Schedules are gospel.
On time is late.
Pretty much. You're typically low context in communication, meaning messages are explicit and direct. You're committed to the job or the task. You adhere strictly to plans. Promptness is paramount. And interestingly, you might be more accustomed to shorter-term working relationships. Get the job done, move on.
Okay, that's monochronic. What's the contrast?
The contrast is polychronic, common in many Latin American, African, Arab, and Southern European cultures. Polychronic individuals often do many things at once. Multitasking is natural.
Juggling lots of balls.
Exactly. They can be highly distractible, easily pulled from one thing to another by interruptions or new priorities. They consider time commitments more as flexible objectives, desirable goals to be achieved if possible, rather than rigid promises.
So schedules are more suggestions.
You could say that. They operate in a high-context way, meaning a lot is communicated implicitly, through relationships and shared understanding, not just words. Their commitment is often more to people and relationships than to abstract schedule.
People over plans.
Often, yes. They change plans frequently and easily. Promptness is often based more on the relationship with the person than the clock itself. And they have a strong tendency to build deep, lifetime relationships.
Wow. That's a fundamental difference in how people experience and manage time and relationships.
It's huge. And understanding which approach you lean towards and which your team members or clients might lean towards can profoundly impact everything. How you schedule meetings, how you interpret deadlines, how you handle interruptions, even just how you build trust in daily interactions.
Yeah, think about your own team right now listening to this. You probably see these different approaches to time playing out every single day, don't you?
Almost certainly. And knowing this isn't about judging one as better, but about understanding the difference and bridging the gap.
Adapting your communication again.
Always adapting.
And there you have it. Wow. We've taken a really deep dive today into this multifaceted world of operational excellence, effective leadership, all of it.
We covered a lot of ground.
We really did.
Yeah.
From defining those crucial leadership styles, navigating the often turbulent human side of change, mastering your own productivity, engaging that truly diverse, multi-generational workforce, and finally, sharpening those vital communication skills.
It all connects together.
It really does. So, what does all this mean for you listening right now?
Yeah, what's the takeaway?
Well, I think it means that being a truly effective leader, or even just a really high-contributing team member, isn't just about working harder or even just having raw talent.
It's more nuanced than that.
Much more. It's about making conscious choices. Choices based on a deeper understanding of, well, human nature, how people tick, how they react.
Yeah.
It's about skillfully managing information, managing your own time and energy, and constantly adapting your approach to fit the situation and the unique people involved.
Conscious choices, understanding, adaptation. That sums it up well.
Now, think back to that image we started with. That person who climbed the tree.
The one who shouted wrong way.
Exactly. This deep dive, hopefully, has given you some of the tools, some of the perspectives to not just avoid going the wrong way yourself, but maybe to be that person.
The one who sees the bigger picture.
Yeah, the one who can survey the whole landscape,
Right.
understand the complex currents of change and human interaction that are swirling around, and then confidently guide yourself and maybe others towards the right destination.
That's a powerful goal.
It is. So the final thought to leave you with is this. How will you apply these insights about leadership, change, productivity, generations, communication? How will you use them to become that insightful, perhaps even visionary, presence in your own work and life?